Formula and Caramel. So how did both these companies get caught up in this bacterial contamination of formula milk, and what does it mean?
Yo, what's good, people? It's Dr. Ren. Listen, the giant Nestle food group has recalled one of their infant formulas known as SMA.
Nestlé is recalling a batch of its baby formula in South Africa this week, joining a much wider international recall spanning dozens of countries.
They've recalled formula again, and if that surprises you, it's because we keep forgetting who Nestlé is.
Please watch this. If you care about your child, do not go to the
So that was Olivia, and she is livid, and for good reason too, but I will say, of course, this is all alleged. And we are 3 videos in for this incident. So she goes to the Walmart on Perry Hills Road in Nottingham, Maryland, and the boyfriend opens up the formula, sees it's half empty, and just assumes that Olivia had already used some. But when she looks at it, she's like, dude, where's all the formula? That's when she realizes it's flour in the container. So one of 2 things happened. Either the formula was returned and then put on the shelf, or someone decided to take the formula out while it was on the shelf and then put flour back in it. She wanted proof, so she mixed it on video to show the consistency. And y'all, she made her own sourdough starter in the car with what was in the can, and in 30 days she's going to be making her first loaf. But she went to her local Walmart. They said, you've got to bring this up to the Walmart you bought it from, because we are not supposed to be taking formula back. So the next day she calls the FDA. They also confirmed that the formula should have never been reshelved and it should be thrown out. So she wants to see camera footage of the formula that she actually bought. And in her 3rd video, she tells us she went back to the OG Walmart and was caught with extreme attitude and no one caring. They would not refund her. They would only provide an exchange. And before she even went to that store, she called them, letting them know that she wanted to see the video footage, that it needed to be looked at. But when she got there, they told her no. So she calls the police. They tell her it will be hard to prove since Walmart isn't willing to work with her. Next up, she's on the phone with Walmart escalation, and they seemed very super concerned. So hopefully something happens with that. She did state the FDA is opening an investigation into the manufacturer, and as of this time, she does not have an attorney, but she does have the receipt, which shows the serial number and the location that she purchased it at. Okay, bye.
Update. So I got off the phone with the FDA. They were saying the way with Enfamil, the way formula works and putting it back on the shelves, if a person takes it to the store to return it, it does not get put back on the shelf. It's supposed to get completely thrown out. So we're pretty much assuming that somebody in the store opened up the formula, emptied it out, and replaced it with flour and put it back on the shelf for another person to buy. I don't know how you could do that to a child. I hope you feel $60 richer so you can go out and support any other drug habits, whatever it is that you need. Maybe another plan B, because clearly you don't want children. But I was assuming that Walmart had exchanged this and put it back on the shelf. That's just not possible. I spoke with Walmart. I'm going to be going back to the store today and seeing if we can go over the camera footage and try to figure out this person's face, call the police, try to identify this person, launch an investigation to identify this person, get an agent that I can come in contact with, and eventually press charges. Because why the fuck would you put flour in formula and think that you're going to get away with it? Like, why would you try to replace formula with flour and think you were going to get away with it? You literally just tried to poison my child. Like,
Nestlé have recalled formula again, and if that surprises you, it's because we keep forgetting who Nestlé really is. But I'm here to remind you, babes, because I have 3 reasons that I decided to stop using Nestlé years ago. The first reason is the baby formula scandal. Nestlé for decades aggressively marketed baby formula to low-income countries, often sending salespeople door to door dressed up as nurses to give them extra authority, whilst they told mothers that formula was in fact better than breast milk. The problem, 1, it's clearly not, but 2, clean water. If clean water was not in great supply, the babies died. And not only that, they didn't teach the mothers about the importance of sterilization or proper use of bottles. And what happened? Millions of babies died. And even after the outrage, the boycotts, they didn't really change their habits. They just rebranded, babes. Second thing is that they sent boats, floating boats, into the Amazon to sell indigenous people ultra-processed foods that were high in salt, high in sugar, high in God knows what. And what happened when the children of these indigenous people started to develop diabetes, all sorts of health concerns? They're in the Amazon. They're literally out in the middle of nowhere and did not have access to the correct health care to help with these new ailments that they had no business knowing about. But what happened was that Nestle saw that their sales elsewhere in their already established markets were falling. So baby, they needed to go find new markets in order to continue making that money. The third reason, and the last one that I'm going to share with you, is that a former CEO for Nestle said that we needed to appreciate that clean water to drink is not a human right. And this is as they go around bottling water, selling it back to the people that they stole it from. But we must not be concerned, because guess what? Drinking clean water is apparently a privilege, and one that we must be able to pay Nestle for. Thank you so very much. So sometimes I think that we forget that these big brands, don't get me wrong, I want to make money just like the rest of them, but let us have a heart. And Nestle clearly has none. They only care about the bottom dollar. So when I shared with you that the chocolates that you are now enjoying are actually chocolate coated flavoring, or whatever they're calling it these days, because they have stripped out the cocoa because it's expensive and put in all of these other ingredients to bring down the cost of the production but still keep their money high, people seem to be surprised. But I just thought I'd share a little reminder of some other reasons why you should stop using Nestle.
Nestle makes SMA and Danone makes Aptamil and Carringate. So how did both these companies get caught up in this bacterial contamination of formula milk, and what does it mean for you? When formula milk is made, it is started with a base formula of freeze-dried milk, either semi-skimmed or, in Kendamil's case, full-fat wet milk. Now, breast milk contains something called ARA, arachidonic acid, which is important for eye and brain development in babies. It's not legal law at the moment, but it's generally advised that ARA should be added to formula milk just to mimic breast milk composition. Arachidonic acid is an omega-3 oil and is sourced from a third party by most milk formula companies. Now, Nestlé and Danone happen to source their arachidonic acid, the ARA, from the same manufacturer in China. Arachidonic acid is formed by a fermentation process, and it can become contaminated with cerulite. Now, the good news is Nestlé and Danone both know exactly which batches are affected by this particular batch of ARA, and they have recalled those particular batches. So anything outside of those batches should be completely safe. Both Nanicare and Hip Organic have confirmed that they use a different supplier for their arachidonic acid than Danone and Nestlé do, and Kendamil have confirmed that none of their products are affected by this recent recall. The health authorities are all over this, and according to the Irish FSA website, they are working directly with milk companies to ensure that the standards of testing are being met. So there we are, in a nutshell, that's where we are. I'm a baby colic coach. Follow for more.
So I've noticed something the past few days really fishy from a formula brand here on TikTok, and I want to see if other people have noticed it too. I kept seeing these videos come up where they're talking about organic formula and NAR Organics, and it was different creators, it was different people, and I just kept seeing this over and over and over again. And it was like they were using the same exact script, which is fine. I was like, okay, NAR Organics is just launching a social media campaign. But then I noticed that they are not disclosing that this is an advertisement, that it's sponsored, and it's like individual people that are creating social media accounts out of nowhere, out of thin air. Here, I'll show you. As you can see, it's all a bunch of accounts that were created just a few days ago. And this is another one. You go through their followings and it's like Nara Mom, and none of it is disclosed that it's an ad or that it's sponsored. It's just all these random social media accounts and these women who are saying that they're moms, tagging, using hashtag mom things, basically. And you can see they're following, and they're not doing anything but just posting this stuff from NAR Organics. I don't have a problem with formula whatsoever. I happen to breastfeed and pump. I did have to supplement with formula at the beginning, and like many moms, I care a lot about the ingredients. I care about transparency. Everything that happened with BioHeart was just so discouraging to see, and I think that a lot of moms just want honest truth from these companies, and I think it's just really, really shady that NAR Organics, one, was one of the companies that BioHeart said to go to, and then two, they launched this really obvious social media campaign, but they're not disclosing that any of this is an ad, sponsored, anything like that. They're just creating a bunch of accounts to push out their organic narrative. I think it's really shady, and I do not like when businesses don't disclose that things are an ad.
Parents, listen up. There's been contamination of cow and gate formula milk products. I'm going to include pictures of some of the affected products, but there are many of them. Now, cerulite is unlikely to be destroyed if you heat or boil the formula milk, which is why you should not give to your children. I'm an NHS-based doctor and surgeon. Please follow and share for the latest health news, tips, and Already, 36 children under the age of 1 have been ill with food poisoning into the contaminated formula milk products, with an additional number of batches added to the Aptamil formula milk products, as well as SMA's Nestlé's formula milk. This is for infant first formula and follow-on formula milk. So I would advise that you either go on the Food Standard Agency website, or you go on Nestlé's website or on Danone's website for the full list of products. That's the SMA products, as well as Cow and Gate and Aptamil. Now, the problem is that they've all been linked to a single supplier having contaminated arachidonic acid oil that's very important for the production of these products. If they develop symptoms such as vomiting and diarrhea, please speak to your GP or NHS 111. If they're having too few wet nappies, that's a reason to go to A&E. If you found this helpful, do me a favor and share on and follow. Thank you.
The Food Safety Watchdog is warning parents to avoid contaminated baby formula. That's after one batch of Aptamil First Infant formula, made by food giant Danone, was recalled after cerulide was found in the product on sale in the UK. The toxin can cause vomiting and stomach cramps and is unlikely to be destroyed by cooking. The Food Standards Agency has confirmed that the contamination originated from a third-party ingredient supplier. The same supplier is also linked to a recall by Nestlé earlier this month. It recalled some of its baby formula products over concerns that they could contain the toxin.
Babies are getting sick from baby formula. Let's talk about it. Nestle and U.S. startup ByHeart have had to do major recalls, and Danone has also done some recalls. All three of these recalls are linked to contaminated ingredients that the formula manufacturers purchased, leading this article to say that these companies are pushing their risks upstream in the supply chain instead of taking ownership. And I take some issue with that because this is almost a $90 billion industry, and these companies can and should be testing for everything under the sun, but they don't. The article concludes by saying that maybe infant formulas should be simpler and safer because it's very hard to prove that these new ingredients are actually beneficial to the babies. So I'm curious, what do you all think?
Would you ever feed your baby a candy bar? Yet you'll feed them formula with essentially the same exact ingredients. The very first ingredient in this is corn syrup solids, followed by seed oils. This is a container of corn syrup solids.
Okay, fear-mongering the ingredients on a bag of chips is one thing. Going after moms who formula feed is way out of touch. I'm Abby Sharp, I'm a dietitian and a mama too, and it is wildly ignorant to suggest that formula feeding is like giving a newborn a candy bar.
As a holistic RN and a mom of one, videos like this piss me off. I hate when doctors and dietitians create videos about influencers who are literally just reading ingredient labels, especially when it's influencers who are trying to help parents learn how to read ingredients in baby food. Now, I wouldn't say that giving your child that formula is like giving your child a candy bar, and I'm not here to demonize formula because I'm actually a mom who used formula. But we also need to be honest. Formula in America is not made with the best ingredients, and parents deserve transparency. Seed oils, unfortunately, are required in every formula in America. So there isn't really a perfect formula. And when I say perfect, really perfect to my standards. The issue with seed oils is that they are highly processed. They easily oxidize and they're very high in omega-6. Excess omega-6 can actually cause chronic inflammation, oxidative stress, and gut irritation. It's especially concerning for babies because they're still developing. Pointing that out is not fear-mongering. Reading a label is not shaming parents. It's advocating for better standards, better ingredients, and informed choice. Next, if you're a parent who really cares about ingredients in your kids' foods, follow me for more.
Beautiful rising gods and goddesses, hope you have a fantastic day. Let's talk about what really caused this baby formula recall and also how to protect our babies. Let me sip my CMOS tea first. So what actually happened? So this contamination happened before the ingredients reached the factory. And an ingredient called arachidonic acid oil was contaminated with Bacillus cereus. This oil is an omega-3 fatty acid which is added to baby formula to help babies' brain development and eye development. But unfortunately, this omega oil was contaminated with Bacillus cereus, and this is the bacteria that produces the toxin cerulide. Cerulide is a extremophile, therefore it is resistant to heat, sterilization, and pasteurization, even boiling. So when parents are making their children's bottles, even that does not kill the bacteria, cerulide. So basically, Nestlé and Danone purchased this omega oil from a third-party company and put it into their formulas without realizing that it had the bacteria in it. So once this is mixed into a formula, it's even harder to detect, creating a supply chain failure, not a parent failure. This toxin is dangerous because it can cause sudden vomiting, diarrhea, dehydration, and in severe cases, injuries to the liver and a metabolic collapse, especially in vulnerable babies. The reason why this was missed is because it wasn't picked up early enough. Routine baby milk formula testing only looks for bacteria such as Coronabacter and Salmonella, and bacteria such as cerulide are not part of their screening, which is a big loophole that I think should be addressed, as this major blind spot has caused a lot of children to be ill. So I think food safety specialists within factories need to be testing for all of these kind of bacteria that are possibly harmful to babies, not just the ones that come up more often. So what parents should do if they have purchased a recalled baby formula is to stop using it immediately, keep the packaging so you've got the batch number for identification, switch your milk to a safer alternative. And if your child is experiencing diarrhea, extreme vomiting, stomach cramping, please contact NHS 111 or contact your GP. I know not all mums are able to breastfeed for many different reasons. I was in that position myself with one of my children. And they're not all breastfed, my children, because my eldest just wouldn't latch on, so he wasn't breastfed. And it's important that parents who can't breastfeed do not feel a type of way or made to feel that they're failing their child because they haven't chosen to breastfeed. And there's also places you can go so your child can be exposed to breast milk, like screen donor breast milk services. They call them milk banks. And there's the hospital neonatal feeding service as well, mums and dads. So this was caused by an industrial food safety system failure. And this video is because parents deserve transparency, safety, and the truth about the recall. So save this video, share it. You may protect a baby just by doing that alone.
Nestlé is doing a recall for some of its products. And Nestlé, my darling, what's going on there? So Nestlé is claiming that some of its infant formula products have been affected by essentially a bacteria that causes food poisoning for infants. And it's in certain regions, and South Africa is one of the regions that is affected. Now, according to Nestlé, this said bacteria, I don't know the specific name. They did say the name. I didn't feel the need to memorize it. It causes vomiting and diarrhea and with infants, obviously because it's in infant products. And some of you that eat infant products, because I know that some of you eat baby formula and purity, so good luck. Do you know what shocked me is when they said this is not the first time this has happened with Nestlé. I said, what? Why are you guys saying this so casually? No. So when they found the bacteria in one of the oils that they use inside the infant formulas, right, products, they recalled it and started an investigation. Now, it's between 6 months, so they're not really sure how many kids could have ingested the said bacteria. And one of Nestlé's employees was like, there's no cases that have been reported. Obviously, because nobody knew that it was, they probably thought that their children were just sick. And that's just it. Maybe, kids get sick. So now I'm just thinking to myself Nestlé, Hypo Nestlé, Hypo Nestlé. I'm practicing modesty. Yeah, Baba. Shwele.
Product recalls in Ireland right now, where I keep you up to date with what products are being recalled. And just now, Danone have issued a recall for Cow and Gate and Aptamel baby formula. We have seen Aptamel here before, but this is the first for Cow and Gate. These are the products that are being recalled due to the possible presence of cerulide, which is a toxin that is harmful for your baby. You're going to see the exact product, the pack size and expiry dates now of the products that are recalled. So screenshot this page if you are using Aptamel or Cow and Gate, or send it to somebody that is. There may be some products that came from UK to Ireland that are implicated as well, and I'm going to show you the list. You can see here it says these products could potentially reach Ireland from distribution from the UK. So please have a look and screenshot. So these are both Aptamel and Cow and Gate. This is a picture of the products that could potentially come here from the UK. And these as well. Danone are advising customers to contact the Aptamel care team or the Cow and Gate care line if you have any queries in relation to the recall. For anyone that doesn't know, Danone issued a recall yesterday for a formula that they make in Ireland, as it may contain cereulide, which is a toxin, the very same toxin that was found in the SMA milk recently. So I'm going to show you now exactly what product it is. So it's Aptamil. Aptamil has been recalled. Now there has been none recalled in Ireland as of yet, but the product was made in Ireland, it's exported across Europe. This is a recall notice from Boots in the UK. We know from the SMA recall that more products can be added. I hope it doesn't happen in this case and that it is an isolated batch. It's obviously going to be very concerning now for any parents who would have switched from SMA to Aptamil. I know the commenter here had switched to Cow and Gate, which looks like you're safe for the time being, but it is really worrying as a parent.
Stop scrolling. If you use any baby formula like Aptamil or SMA Gold for your baby, if you know anyone who uses any of this formula, share this information with them. This is a safety information and it's very important. A specific batch of Aptamil 1, which is currently being recalled urgently, has been deemed unsafe for consumption, and this is because it's likely to contain a toxin called cereulide, which can cause nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea and abdominal cramp for your baby when ingested. The recall Aptamil is the 800 milligram first infant milk with a batch number that is due to expire on the 31st of October 2026. As of today, 27th of January 2026, it is said that it is only one batch of the Aptamil that is being recalled. If you use any other type of Aptamil for your baby, it is deemed safe to use. As of late December 2025, various batches of SMA Gold was also deemed unconsumable because of the same type of toxin. I'm going to link the batch numbers in the caption. If you've purchased any of this recalled formula, don't feed it to your baby. Return it immediately to where you purchased it from, with or without a receipt. You're going to get a refund. And if you already fed it to your little one and they're showing any of the signs and symptoms, diarrhea, nausea, vomiting, abdominal cramp, please take them to the nearest emergency department.
Nestlé has issued a global recall of some baby formula products over concerns they contain a toxin which could cause food poisoning. The food and drink giant says specific batches of its SMA instant formula and follow-on formula were not safe to feed to babies. The batches were sold across the world, and Nestlé says they potentially contain cereulide, which causes nausea and vomiting when consumed. Let's speak more about this with Connie Sitaelo, who's Nestlé's Director for Corporate Communications and Public Affairs in the Eastern and Southern Africa region. Connie, thanks very much indeed for your time. Welcome to the SABC. It's not the first time that Nestlé issues an alert for a recall, albeit this time around it seems much larger than what we've seen in the past. How many units, roughly speaking, have been affected?
For us, fortunately, good morning, first of all, and thanks for having me. So currently for us as South Africa,
Connie, I'm not able to hear you for some reason. I'm not sure if that's on our side or if you're able to check. All right, my apologies. Please go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Please go ahead, Connie.
Okay, I was just saying good morning, Ayanda, and thank you for having me. I hope you can hear me now.
Loud and clear. Thank you very much.
Okay, perfect. So I was just saying, for us as South Africa, the quantities are quite limited because most of them were still within our control. So we have one specific batch that was imported from one of the affected factories or affected countries. However, we are well in control of that, and we have also notified the relevant authorities to help us make sure that we retrieve everything that is out there that we don't have, which is quite limited and minimal.
Is there any telling how long the affected units have been on the shelves?
The products were manufactured on the 15th of June this year, so it could have been for about 6 months on the shelf until now.
All right, so there's a great chance that some of them have been consumed. It's a good opportunity, I suppose, for us to speak about this toxin that was found. What are you able to tell us about it and the potential effects it could have on babies who do consume the product?
Okay, so the toxin that was detected is called cereulide, as you said, which is actually a specific strain of bacteria, of microorganism, which is called Bacilli ceres. So the testing that we identified the presence of cereulide, which is a heat-stable toxin. and now it's produced it's used as an oil that is used within infant formula manufacturing. So the potential issue was initially detected during our Nestle routine global quality verification processes, which actually triggered further targeted testing of what we call arachidonic acid oil ingredient, and also some of the oil mixes that we use for infant formula products. So once the supplier's batch was found to be non-compliant, Nestle then launched a full investigation and notified regulators in affected markets, which also includes South Africa.
Right. And again, what should parents who are concerned look out for in case their own babies have consumed the product with this toxin?
So as you said initially, that some of the symptoms include vomiting and diarrhea, which fortunately right now no sickness or illness has been reported or confirmed both globally and in South Africa. So parents can rest assured. I understand that this could cause concern, but can rest assured that nothing has been reported so far, which is why we precautionary measure to actually withdraw everything that is still out in the trade.
Ideally, of course, something like this should be picked up before it's exposed to consumers, and I have no doubt that Nestle has its own controls in place. The question becomes, have you been able to identify at which step of that process or how these controls may have faltered in order to prevent a repeat of something like this taking place?
So we're currently working with our leading supplier for arachidonic acid oil, so that we get to the root cause of this. So it's something that came as part of the ingredients that were supplied to Nestle. So with our routine testing, this was then picked up, which is then what triggered the targeted testing of this particular toxin.
All right. I'm not sure if I understand that fully. So at this stage, you're not really able to kind of give us a sense of at which stage, this toxin may have fallen through the cracks, for lack of a better term.
Not specifically, Ayanda, because as I said, this was initiated by just random regular lab testing that we do on our oils and every corresponding oil mixes that is applied to us for infant nutrition products. So these were just specifically designed to identify cereulide, right? So as soon as we realized that there were detectable levels of cereulide in ARI oil, we consider that non-compliant because we have strict quality and safety specifications as Nestle. So that's when all the production was ceased, and then we took a decision to do this precautionary product withdrawal.
All right. So as things stand, would it be fair to say that because we're not really able to kind of give us a sense of what the root cause might have been, this may very well happen again?
I will not say that, Ayanda, because obviously this triggered a heightened sense of monitoring within the ingredients and also working closely with our different suppliers, and specifically this one. So there definitely will be ongoing monitoring procedures to check if any other batches might be affected. So right now, we have implemented enhanced global and local monitoring, which includes ongoing testing of all the ARA oil and oil mixes applied into production, verification of historical batches, additional supplier oversight and preventative controls, and also close coordination with the different regulators. So we continue to test finished products proactively, and at this stage, the issue is just limited to a specific batch already withdrawn within the local market.
All right. I understand the recall, as you've mentioned multiple times, is a precautionary measure, but as I'm sure you can imagine, there might be a level of, shall we call it, distrust in the public at the moment. What is Nestle doing to try, beyond just having a recall, to rebuild that trust with consumers?
So we are engaging with our different healthcare professionals, which are the ones that actually need to be engaging with mothers. And as I said, they understand the concern. It's valid.
Mothers and fathers, listen up, because this is an important news. So Nestle has confirmed that a dangerous toxin called cereulide, which can cause food poisoning, was found in some batches of its recalled SMA baby formula. This one. Over 60 batches of infant and a follow-on formula were also recalled earlier as a precaution. So the UK authorities, including food agencies, the FSA and UK health security agencies, has traced contamination to a third-party ingredient supplier, specifically an oil called arachidonic acid, ARA. The FSA said cereulide was found in some batches, though it's unclear if all recalled products are affected. So cereulide is produced by a certain strand of Bacillus cereus. It's a bacteria that causes food poisoning. And this bacteria is heat stable, which means that it cannot be destroyed by boiling water or any formula preparation technique. The symptoms can include rapid onset, vomiting, nausea, diarrhea, and abdominal cramps. Nestlé said that they have no confirmed illnesses linked to the product and that the recall issued on the 5th January 2026 remain unchanged.
Nestlé is recalling a batch of its baby formula in South Africa this week, joining a much wider international recall spanning dozens of countries. And while product recalls are never good news, this one involves infant nutrition, which raises the stakes significantly. Investigations have flagged potential traces of cerulide, a toxin produced by certain bacteria, in an oil supplied to Nestlé. While the toxin can cause vomiting and stomach cramps, the company says that no illness has been confirmed anywhere so far. In South Africa, though, the recall applies to a single batch of NAN Special Pro HA manufactured in June last year, and regulators have confirmed thus far that no other local products have been affected. So yes, this is a precautionary recall, not a reaction to confirmed illness. Parents are being told to stop using the affected batch and return it for a refund. Even so though, the fact that a toxin made it into the ingredient pipeline at all is the part that sticks, which means that Nestlé's PR team probably isn't clocking off early any.
The UAE has announced the withdrawal of another Nestlé infant milk product, the S26AR Gold, after recalling a host of baby formula over the presence of toxin-forming bacteria. According to the Emirates Drug Establishment, the affected batches were identified after traces of bacteria were detected in a production input, which may cause gastrointestinal illness. In coordination with Nestlé, authorities have secured affected stock, withdrawn products from all retail channels, and enabled digital tools for batch checks. And
there's a new list of baby formulas that was just tested for heavy metals and chemicals. Two things that should not be in the same sentence when talking about baby formula. But if you're a parent and want to check if what you're feeding your baby is on this list, stick around. Florida actually just announced that they are the first state that is independently testing baby formulas found on their shelves.
Those samples were tested for arsenic, cadmium, lead, and mercury. And what we found in those 24 samples was troubling. 16 of those formulas contained at least one, if not more, heavy metals that exceeded federal standards. Mercury was the most common, detected above federal benchmarks. Importantly, 6 of the formulas showed elevated metal levels in every sample purchased from different locations. And that tells us it's not a one-off shipment or a single store issue. It points to systemic problems in sourcing or in manufacturing.
I'll scroll through the list, but if you do want to dive deeper into exactly what chemicals were found and what levels in each baby formula, you can go to exposingfoodtoxins.com. So this is Florida's brand new website that they launched in partnership with the Florida Department of Health, who say that they looked at the formulas and compared it with the maximum daily limit set by the EPA and the FDA for the chemicals, and that's how they came up with their grading system. Casey DeSantis, Ron DeSantis' wife, is the one who's spearheading this movement. She says it aligns with the Make America Healthy Again movement, MAHA movement, but she's now spearheading this on a state level.
Zits have been putting toxins in our baby formula. So Nestlé has now been caught putting toxins in some of its Nestlé baby formula products. Nestlé has already recalled several batches due to concerns they may trigger nausea and vomiting. So if you haven't boycotted them already, you should have boycotted them a long time ago, not just for the sake of watermelon. Yeah, we get that their Super Pro is not real and they'll do anything for them. But when it comes to us, human beings, like everyone else, the non-chosens, they will steal from us. They will poison us and they don't care. We need to, these companies who are just so, wow, you can't even think about how, I can't even say the word because, that brought this up. We need to do something about it. Boycotting them isn't just for watermelon. Boycotting them is for your own children's sake. For the sake of the country that you...
Yo, what's good, people? It's Dr. Rain. Listen, the giant Nestle food group has recalled one of their infant formulas known as SMA. This is because they've discovered a toxin inside the infant formula that is extremely dangerous and risky to babies. This causes a lot of vomiting and vomiting can lead to dehydration. Dehydration can also lead to shock and lead to kidney failure and other injuries, multi-organ injuries. So it's very important you avoid the brand SMA for now. If you're using it, please stop immediately. If your baby does have any of the symptoms such as excessive vomiting, not able to keep anything down, please make sure that you visit your nearest hospital and you see preferably a pediatrician so that they can be able to assess your baby. Now, Nestle has been under scrutiny the past few months. Last year, we had this case with Nestle where they found that the sugar contains a lot of sugar in most of their products in the African and the Asian region, basically the third world shithole countries, as compared to Europe and the other countries such as the US. So for now, Nestle, maybe the best thing is to avoid products from them.
Botulism. 13 babies have been hospitalized with cases of infant botulism linked to formula under recall. This is not good. The federal and state health officials are investigating 13 cases in 10 states of infant botulism linked to baby formula that was being recalled. By Heart Inc. agreed to begin recalling 2 lots of the company's whole nutrition infant formula. All 13 infants were hospitalized after consuming the formula from the 2 lots. These are the numbers right here. Now, the cases occurred in Arizona, California, Illinois, Minnesota, New Jersey, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Texas, and Washington. All over the place. No deaths were reported. The FDA said it was investigating how the contamination happened and whether it affected any other products. People who bought the recalled formula should record the lot number if possible before throwing it out or returning it to where it was purchased. You should also use a dishwasher or hot soapy water to clean items and surfaces that touch the formula. And also seek medical care right away if an infant has consumed recalled formula and then had poor feeding, loss of head control, difficulty swallowing, or decreased facial expressions. Infant botulism is caused by bacterium that produces toxins in the large intestine. Symptoms can take weeks to develop, so parents should keep vigilant. People, this is scary. We've got 13 babies that are hospitalized. If you have this product, stop using it immediately.